Guys, welcome. So here we have a 2008 Hino 165. I went ahead and picked this truck up really cheap, and so far it's in really good condition. However, I did have one issue with the engine, and I didn't see any other videos online, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did to fix my issue. Okay, so we are inside the truck now, and I'm going to show you some of the symptoms I was having. And this all relates to the problem that I fixed later in this video, and just a heads up, it did fix it. So if you're having these same symptoms, maybe you want to check this out because it might save you a lot of money at the dealer. When I bought this truck, the engine was running, everything was working. When I put it into drive, I would have no pedal. I would push it, the engine would rev up almost like you had a brake on, but you wouldn't go anywhere, or it would take a really long time to accelerate. Now, this did have a check engine light on the dash, so I was kind of thinking those were related. But although I didn't have pedal in drive, I had acceleration in the manual modes, which is first and second. So I could accelerate in first, switch it to second, and then when I was going at a good rate of speed, I could put it into drive and I would be fine. Now, another symptom I had was my overdrive wasn't working. If I press my overdrive kill switch or my turn off switch for my overdrive, it wouldn't stay on. I'll go ahead and show you. Alright, so I went ahead and turned the motor on, just like that. And I did this to show you another symptom I was having, and that's related to the overdrive button on your shifter here. Now what that does is that turns off overdrive when you're driving in like low speed areas. And I thought that was my issue with the transmission. I thought I was stuck in overdrive or something, so I tried to turn it off, and when I did that, I noticed that the switch wasn't staying on. So I would hit this button and it would just flash when I had the button depressed, right? Now what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to stay on like this and not come off, but mine wasn't. Mine was just flashing like this. So that might be another symptom. I also had issues with my speed right here, my throttle control. So this is used when you're idling. You can see it works now, but before this button was dead, and I took this button off and I tried to see maybe there was something wrong, but there was nothing. So I read up on a couple forums and they said, hey, check this out, you might have a problem with limp mode. Now, these Hinos are known for this issue. Some of them you're able to take the fuse out, hold it for 5 seconds, put it back in, and it'll reset it. In my case, it wasn't doing that. So I looked up another couple forums and tried to see some symptoms, and I went ahead and I found that these Hinos have an issue with their EGR valve. Went ahead and shut the motor off. Yeah, so your EGR valve. Now your EGR valve is your exhaust gas recirculation valve, and basically it takes exhaust gases, I guess it's in the name, and it recirculates it back through the engine, so you can burn it again, combust it again, yada yada. Good for the environment? Probably not. Anyways, so those are just little valves, little gates that open and close inside this tube, and you'll see that later on. And these can get built up with carbon. Now this carbon's due to unburnt fuel. This can be caused by excessive idling, stuff like that. You really can't help it. It's a part of the job. This was a vacuum truck, so it's seen a lot of idling hours, so it makes sense that this is what was wrong with this truck. So yeah, your exhaust gas recirculation valve, look it up. You can either have an electrical issue going to the box, or you can have the valve stuck, which mine was. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I took that off, where it's located on the J05 DTF motors, and we're gonna go from there, and I'll show you what's going on. Show you that is right up here. If I'm correct, this should be this thing right here. So we got a couple brackets to take off right in there and stuff. I'm not sure, you probably can't see that, but we got the toolkit. Oh, let's find out what size this is. Things we need to remove. Alright, so here you'll notice me taking off the EGR valve. Now this is held on by 6 bolts. There's going to be 4 on the exhaust side and then 2 on the intake side. They're pretty easy to get at. You just need a couple extensions, and hopefully they're not stuck for you guys. Mine were pretty good. And when you go to put them back on, make sure you put anti-seize back on, because these things can get stuck because they're in the heat and they get rusty. So just double check that. Now these could be different depending on what Hino engine you have. Mine is the J05D TF motor, so it was located right by the firewall and pretty accessible, but yours might be different. All right, so as you just saw there, we removed all the bolts. This should be loose. Whoa, that is bad. Wow, that is a buildup of carbon if I've ever seen it. Oh, hey, that wasn't opening. No way. Holy, let's go ahead and clean this up. I've never actually cleaned one of these up before, so let's go ahead and see if we can do that. Now you can see me cleaning it here with just some random tools. Hopefully you have better equipment to deal with this stuff, but I was just trying to get this truck back on the road. So if you're in a pinch, you can just clean the carbon up around the seat, and you'll notice that it gets built up, and it's pretty obvious that it wasn't opening. But hopefully you have some type of solution that you can spray in there and clean it up really nice, because ideally you don't want to take this off again. Eventually I move on to moving the valve around with a little wrench, and I'll show you that now. There's a... Oh, there we go. Look at the backside. Wow. Now I never mentioned it before, but these valves can actually get stuck in the open or closed position. So just keep that in mind, and that maybe relate to some different symptoms like not being able to start or the hard knocking like I was mentioning earlier. So just keep that in mind and do your research on your own. So I went ahead, put the EGR back in. It was getting a little dark out, so I wanted to hurry up. And it might have fixed it. It's running really good. All right, so this is actually the next day. But as you can see, I was able to get the vehicle or the truck out of where it was parked. Good news, it fixed the problem. So I went ahead, I put the EGR valve back in. I took it for a little drive. No more limp mode. I can put it in drive now. I can accelerate. My throttle switch works, and it builds up to temperature. Great. A lot faster actually, which is perfect. So yeah, go ahead and check your EGR valve, guys, because it's super easy and it can save you a ton of money rather than taking it to a shop. And like I said, there was no videos on this, so hopefully someone can take something out of it. And good luck.